welcome to Super Flashy Arrow of Tomorrow, episode 17. I am your host, Sir Cussalott Travis Pointer, and I am joined by my co-host, Mara the Shark Watkins.
Hello.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going. I'm alive. Nobody's killed me yet, so it's all right now. Yeah, we're here talking about all the shows in the Berlanti-verse, Arrowverse, Flareoverse, whatever it is you call it. Mara calls it the...
Clusterfuck.
Yeah, that. How's life? You good?
Yeah, I can complain, but I won't.
Yeah, nobody's really listening anyway. So, at least that's what people tell me. Like, yeah, I can complain, but who's really listening?
Exactly.
I'm listening, Mara. I'm listening.
Thank you.
Exactly. Not really, but it sounds good, don't it? So yeah. We're going to talk about this week's episodes of Supergirl and Arrow. There were no episodes of Flash or Legends this week, so we're going to kind of do a little preview talk about what's going to come next week, but that's about it. But with no further ado, let's go ahead and get into Supergirl Monday. Episode called Luthors.
I thought it was called The Luthors.
It might have been called The Luthors. Who knows? I don't. I just have Luthors here. It's entirely possible it was called The Luthors.
I mean, it's whatever. It's Mox next to me.
Yeah, it's, article adjective. Who really cares, right?
Not I.
Yeah, it kicks off with Kitty Lex, and he's playing chess with Mama Luthor. It's a flashback.
You said
clearly.
Kitty Lex. I thought you said Kitty Licks, and I was just like, I'm just letting him rock.
No, I said Lex.
I was gonna let you rock anyway, but then I realized what you said, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's playing chess with his mom, and Daddy Luthor comes in with little kid Lena. Mom was all like, "Yeah, I thought we talked about this." And like, "Yeah, we talked about it, and now I'm bringing her in here because fuck you." He didn't say that out loud, but that's basically what he said.
I was watching that part, and I was kind of like, who just adopts a child? How you just adopt a child without the other half of the parent consenting to it? Like, how does that work?
Because fuck you. Like, that's basically what it was.
I mean, now, of course, they go into it further, but I was just so taken aback by that. I was like, what kind of agency just lets that happen?
Well, like you said, you find out later it's because, it was his kid,
Exactly.
Yeah, which is an interesting turn of events. She wasn't, she was adopted, but not really. He was like, she was a Luthor. Not in name, but, by blood.
Word. I thought that was pretty cool, of a little thing. It kind of, but it makes sense, though.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Well, you could have saw it coming because, from every time that they've shown Lena, she focuses so much on as to how she's only a Luthor by name, but not by blood, and they kind of just focus on that so much that it kind of didn't surprise me as much that she was actually genetically a Luthor.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And plus, she acts like a Luthor instead of, outside of the whole being evil thing. But, the way she thinks, she's always planning ahead and all that kind of stuff. She's clever like Luthors are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was cool. Let's see. We saw this whole conversation between Mon-El and Kara. This whole awkward interaction, because she doesn't want to admit that she's into him. But he does say, he wants, Mama Luthor to be, publicly shamed and shit. And in my head, I just started thinking of the Game of Thrones thing. I want them to have a bell and go, shame.
Shame. Oh, you're better than me. I thought of, public stoning.
Shame. Well, every time I hear somebody say shame, I automatically go to Game of Thrones, and I want to see people ring a bell and say shame over and over again because that makes me chuckle. Yeah, but that whole awkward thing when Kara just doesn't want to admit that she's into Monel is just you sit there and you're like,
Annoying.
yeah, like yo, just go ahead and do it because you're getting on my nerves. Like, come on now.
Right? And they kind of like bounced around, Monel's, you know, dating status, um, for the most part until like further into the episode.
Yeah, but you realize he actually didn't like have a good time on that date.
Right.
Yeah, all he did was talk about Kara. Like all he did was talk about you, and
Yeah.
just look at him like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this and wasting my time? Eventually, they had the whole thing where she admitted that like, yo, I do like you. It's okay, and all that. Took them to the end of the fucking episode to do it, but they did it. I don't understand why it took them that long, but they did it. Yeah, but anyway, after all that, you find out, that Lena had to testify, and she gave her testimony. Mama didn't like the testimony. She was annoyed, wants to talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, fuck you."
But I mean, no one's gonna like the testimony against them.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. But she like Lena's like, yeah, she wants to see me, and Kara talks her into going. And yeah, see how that worked out for her. And
Yeah.
that's when we find out that Lena was actually like, Daddy
Patsy.
Luthor's. Yeah, she was the bastard child of the Luthor family. Let's see. Yeah, and
She's also
and Mama.
Patsy for her mom's escape, though.
Well, yeah, that too. That too. We were getting to that, but the whole thing we find out she actually was of Luthor blood. Was an interesting thing to find out. Even though at the time that she said it, I didn't believe her. Like, I thought she was making it up.
Right.
So it turns out it was a half truth. Because, yeah, she was of Luthor blood, but I really still don't believe that whole thing of, he didn't want her to be around Lena at all. And, like, that's why I was the way I was. Like, nah, you were just.
You didn't want to be around her.
Yeah, you were just an asshole. Like, it's okay. Like, just admit it.
What was I gonna say? Oh, hey, can we just talk about how fuck, I had a whole thought and I totally lost it within getting ready to say it. What was it? When everyone thought that Lena was the one who, was behind everything or was a part of it.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Such,
and Kara was like, "Yo, she didn't do it," and they're like, "Yeah, she did." And yeah.
Wait. Oh yeah. So when they were talking about the whole from the beginning, when she shot Corbin and killed him, and Jimmy was like, "What if that had been the plan all along?" I was like, "Jimmy, this is one really long, elaborate plan."
She's a
for
Luthor.
That. But my thing is just that's a lot of maybe it might have happened for that to be a plan.
The problem with that is I even through the whole thing I didn't believe that she was actually a part of it, but at the same time I can understand their line of thinking because she is a Luthor. It's the way they do things. There's always a plan involved, They think long term. That's just how they operate. So I can see why they would think that, but at the same time it was just nah, I don't believe it either.
Yeah.
This whole thing with Metallo, though, in his, synthetic kryptonite chest.
That was weird.
Yeah, man. Yo, why would you think that worked? Why would you do that?
Since when does, oh my God, synthetic anything is pretty much bad. If you won't have synthetic weed, why would you have synthetic kryptonite?
Yo, speaking of synthetic weed, There was this long time. I'm a wrestling fan. In case people didn't know this, I may have mentioned it before, but
You
but like there was this whole period of time where so many different wrestlers were getting suspended in WWE for synthetic weed. Like, yo, why are you all doing this? Like, that doesn't even sound like a good idea. If you're gonna go
synthetic
ahead,
weed kills people.
and my thing is like, yo, if you're gonna smoke weed, just smoke weed. Like, clearly, if you're getting in trouble for the synthetic shit too, it makes a whole lot more sense to just go ahead and smoke weed. Like,
Do the real stuff.
yeah, if you're gonna get suspended anyway, what the fuck? Anyway, that's it for my rant on that.
I
But
mean, they don't hire these niggas for being smart.
clearly, they hire them because they're okay with getting their heads bashed in on a regular basis. But
Which is why synthetic weed is okay.
you you know what? You may have a point there
Haha.
because you really can't be a completely stable person and do that for a living. Like, it's just I watch it all the
Except
time, and
maybe
I'm just
John
like, why
Cena.
would you agree to do this to yourself daily? Like, you only see them on TV once a week, but they also wrestle throughout the week too. Like,
Really?
yeah, they do like live shows throughout the week. You know, people buy tickets to the shit, and you watch them live throughout the week. The televised shit only happens once a week, but they do other shit throughout the week too.
Yeah, the only two stable people to walk out of there is John Cena and The Rock.
John Cena's not out yet.
Are you right?
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's see what else happened in this episode that's worth talking about. Well, you can
I
say
just want to get to my favorite part.
well, in the end, they find out Lena didn't take the kryptonite and all that. Blah blah blah. But
Of course, they brought back this nigga, synthetic Superman.
fucking cyborg Superman, because Hank Henshaw, like, God, I hate this so
Superman.
much. I saw it and I immediately put in my nose. I still hate that thing on his fucking face. I hate that thing. It looks so fucking stupid. It really looks like they just put a metal plate and put it on the side of his face. It doesn't look like, him being a cyborg. It looks like he just put a metal plate on his face.
It looks like half his face got blown off, and the metal plate's the only thing holding it together.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Synthetic Superman, alternative fact Superman.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's alternative fact Superman.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
Roll credits.
exactly. But, we talked about it earlier, but, in the end, Kara does admit that she's actually into Mon-El. They're about to kiss, and this weird magic dude shows up, and I'm in love with you kind of thing. Like, okay. Who the fuck?
I was sitting there watching it, screaming at my phone because I was sitting there watching it on the app on my phone, and I'm screaming at my phone, kiss him, kiss them, kiss, kiss, kiss. And then next thing I was like, and then the little fairy dude flies in, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, me, when they were about to kiss, I had in my head the song from The Little Mermaid, Kiss the Girl. Like, kiss the girl. Wow, wow. That's what was in my head at that point. I'm like, okay. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Yeah.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, those are the words. I didn't know. I watched that.
Oh wait, no, it's
I don't know.
sha-la-la-la-la-la, my oh my. Looks like the boy's too shy. You gonna kiss the girl? Whoa, whoa. Sorry, I'm a Disney fan.
I hear you, but I used to watch this movie when I was 4, so I have no idea what the actual words are. I haven't watched it as an adult, so I don't remember. But
I don't remember the last time I watched it.
wow, wow. I remember that part. But
I play it all the time for Luna, so.
But anyway, yeah, Magic Dude shows up, and that's the end of the episode because he's like, I'm in love with you. Before we get
How do you say his last name?
I was going to get to that in a second too, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the way Supergirl goes and how I'm bothered by it, but I'm okay with it at the same time. Um, when you watch Flash, you watch Arrow, you watch Legend of Tomorrow, they seem to have an overarching story for the whole season. You know, Arrow, they're dealing with Prometheus. Flash, Savitar. It started off with alchemy, but it's really Savitar. Savitar is who they're dealing with through the whole season.
I feel like
Legends.
that's always a thing for Flash. There's always like there's a mini bad and then there's a big bad on top
Exactly.
of the
Same for Arrow. Same
true.
for Legends of Tomorrow. They're dealing with the Legion of Doom for their whole season. Supergirl doesn't have that. What are they dealing with? It's a
I
different
just
thing
yeah,
every week. Right? Or am I wrong? Am I
yeah.
missing something?
Well, maybe it's because Cadmus is their big bad, and I know like it kind of rushed in the first half of the season with them doing all their shit and then Lillian getting arrested, but like I feel like it timed out kind of good with that, now she's free again. So it's like she still can wreak a lot of havoc,
Yeah.
you know? Because, like, think of it this way in Arrow, like, Prometheus isn't in every episode, too. Like, he's, like, in hiding or underground or whatever the fuck it is he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. It just seemed like with him, it was like you still, even though he wasn't like in every episode, you kind of still felt him there. As opposed to like with Cadmus, it just to me it just doesn't seem like they're as menacing overall for the whole story. Because there's times when things are going on, like even through these first couple
Wait,
episodes
you
of the
don't think
season, like,
Cadmus is menacing? That's like saying
well, let
the
me tell you
early
why.
days of Hitler
Let me tell
were
you why.
just,
Let me tell you why. Because
cakewalks.
these first few episodes of Supergirl, I forgot all about Cadmus. I knew they existed, but it was just like I just didn't care anything about them at all. Like they were done with to me. I didn't care. With Prometheus, even though these first couple episodes they really didn't even mention him, or they kind of did, but even so, he was still like a specter over this whole thing. I'm still like, well, what's gonna happen with him? Because I'm still worried about this dude. I wasn't even worried about Cadmus. I don't know why, but to me, it just didn't really matter. But I,
Okay.
that's just how I saw it. But maybe I'm just the crazy one. It's entirely possible. But end of this episode, though, we can get into this magic dude now, whose name I don't know how to pronounce, but it's spelled MXYZPTLK. There's an extreme lack of vowels in this name, and I refuse to try to say it out loud because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Mixie Piclick.
Sure, yeah, yeah, that shit.
I don't know
So
if that's the right way of saying it. I'm just saying how I think he said it.
I hear you. I'm telling you, I'm not even gonna try. Even though the next episode has his name in it, because it's Mr. and Mrs. whatever the fuck his name is
Mixie Piclick.
is the name of the next episode. Which we see the trailer of it, sees him doing his weird magic shit, and he's in love with Carol for some reason. I don't know. We don't know why or anything, but he's trying to make her marry him. And he does some weird shit where he's like, impersonating Superman and shit. Does all these weird magic antics and so yeah, he's doing all these weird magic antics and shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I guess we'll see because they're doing a Valentine's Day episode a week after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of wish they had, switched these 2 weeks. Like, do the Mr. and Mrs. Piclick episode this past Monday, and did the Luthers, this upcoming Monday.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
probably would
mean?
have made
It
more
would have been
sense.
more timing
Yeah,
proficient.
yeah.
Cause like now I'm excited for this upcoming episode, but now I feel like I'm gonna be dumb as fuck or be like confused as hell or thrown off time wise now, because I'm easily thrown off by days, um, based off shows clearly, um, because they're gonna be talking about Valentine's Day, and I'm like, wasn't that shit like a week ago? Am I
Yeah.
forgetting something? Did I miss Valentine's Day?
No, you're just
No,
crazy. It's okay.
I'm not crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's what all crazy people say.
No, not all crazy people say they're not crazy.
Yeah, they do. But anyway,
Only
we're gonna move on to Tuesday. the Tuesday that didn't happen because there was no Flash episode this week. There was no Legends episode this week, but we are getting a Flash
Because
episode next
budget
week.
didn't allow it.
That's Mara's theory. We'll talk about that in a second because the upcoming episode next week is called Attack on Gorilla City, which is basically the Grodd episode, but it's a two-parter. So Mara's theory is what, Mara?
They couldn't allow to have an extra episode in the budget, so to do the budget up for the 2-episode event of Gorilla City, they had to take out a week. Legends of Tomorrow budget also had to be axed to make up for Flash's budget.
It's an interesting theory, Mara.
No, because also Legend of Tomorrow is going back to medieval times. They need that kind of budget as well. So
okay, Mara.
That is mine.
If you say so. Even though they still get the full same amount of episodes this season as last season, but we won't talk about that.
But sometimes they can give or take an episode. But I refuse. I am going with the theory of they could have had an extra episode, but then they were like, "No, let's do Grodd this season." But instead of just doing Grodd, let's do a bunch of Grodds in 2 episodes. And then the producers were like, Greg, we don't have the budget for that. Greg was like, "Nah, we'll just scrap a week."
Who the fuck is Greg, Mara?
Berlanti.
Oh, okay. I see. That makes sense. I thought you just threw out a random name and just said Greg. And just like, yo, who the fuck is Greg?
No, you would only know that I'm doing that when I keep changing the name. Like if I went from Greg to Brad to Robert.
That sounds like a Brad
Simon.
problem. Oh, shit. Okay. I'm all right. But anyway, we see this episode where, apparently Earth 2 Wells is somewhere in Gorilla City and he's in trouble. Like, we got to go help this dude.
I hope they explain how he got there.
I'm sure they will.
I don't really get how he got there unless I missed something in last week. And I'm pretty sure I didn't.
No, you didn't miss anything. Like I said, I'm sure they'll explain it. We get a Planet of the Apes reference from Julian, which was fun. But it looks like when this happens,
didn't he die in Planet of the Apes?
I don't know. Did he?
I'm pretty sure that whichever one of the newer ones he's been in,
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the last 2 he's in. I'm pretty sure his character died.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
From what I've heard.
But it looks like Barry and Cisco and Julian are the ones who go to help. I'm not sure why they, why those 4 are the ones that go, but I'm sure they'll explain. But
I feel like Killer Frost wouldn't really.
Yeah. Well, we see they also get captured. So we don't know what's going on with that. But we'll see next week. So that's it for that. Legends next week. The episode's called Camelot/3000. I'm not sure what that means, except for the fact that you're in medieval England, so there's maybe some King Arthur references and some shit.
I'm pretty sure. What's his face? I always forget his name. The historian.
Oh, Haywood. Nathan. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna make some cheesy, corny reference to the. I'm pretty sure it's something him or Ray says is why the thing is named that way, because that's how it always is.
Possibly, but we do see also Ray has a glowing sword for some reason, so we'll find out what's going on with that.
Budget.
Yeah, I guess, because glowing sword, because reasons. But all right, that's all we know about those things. But
I wonder if it'll be less racially tense than any of their other episodes.
I don't know. We'll see, because
I want to know what racial tensions were like back in the medieval times.
We'll see. Well, they were fighting, there was a whole lot of the Crusades and shit were going on back then, so they weren't really too happy on people of color back then either. So we'll see.
Oh, great. Okay.
But Arrow happened on Wednesday though. This episode was called Spectre of the Gun, which is an episode that got pretty political, and I wasn't ready for that.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I just wasn't expecting it.
The story part with Oliver, though, okay, let me just be honest. When I watched it, as it live on television, like as it came on, which
Hmm.
is very rare because I normally forget. I lose track of time to do these things. But uh, what was it? And it wasn't that I wasn't paying. It wasn't like I was doing other stuff um while watching it. It was generally the amount of interest I had in certain parts of the episode plot. So while most of the flashbacks, or I think all of the flashbacks,
All Renee.
were Renee's, yeah. This was the first time I've liked the flashbacks
Well, yeah, because they were
because,
relevant.
well, yeah, they were relevant, but they were also like they gave us more insight to Renee's background.
Hmm.
Um, and to be honest, I felt like it was more interesting of his background than what was actually currently happening. Like I was, in the moment when the guy came into City Hall and started shooting up the place. And um but then once they started going into Renee's story, I kind of lost interest in the current time
Hmm.
and was more focused on what was happening with Renee. Like so at one point, Curtis and Renee go to some uh either I'm not sure if it was an anonymous group or a
Yeah, it was like,
support group.
yeah, gun, like some kind of gun violence survivors group or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, that's how uninterested I was in the current time that I didn't even realize what kind of group they were in. That I was just like,
Well,
where
they
the
really
fuck
don't
are
like
they?
explicitly say it. It's just kind of implied by what they're talking about and all that. They don't really say have a name on the board or anything like that for you to read, but you kind of can tell from what they say what the group is.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like I had no interest in what they were saying. Like they like it. Think of it like Charlie Brown, the teachers.
Yeah, I got you.
Like they were talking, but none of it sank in. And the next thing I knew, Renee was telling Curtis, "Why'd you bring me here?"
Yeah, because it's the whole thing throughout the whole episode. They were having this, gun debate back and forth through the whole episode. And Felicity's like, I don't want to talk about this, blah, 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 blah. And Curtis like, yo, why can't we talk about this? We need to have these talks or nothing gets done, which makes sense to me. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
hmm
I like how it took the black guy to say it though.
another thing, too, I want to see, which I like that point also, by the way. But, my thing was, I want to know what this magical solution they came up with at the end was, though. Like, we came up with a plan. It doesn't restrict anybody's rights, but it keeps everybody safe. And blah, 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 blah. Like, what was your
I was
plan,
like,
though?
so it stays the same? Like what?
I was
Like what
saying,
happened?
like, what was your plan though? Like, you didn't come up with a plan. You just kind of say you got a plan because I don't know what your plan is. But I guess I can't expect this TV show to solve the world's political problems. But still, if
But
you're
they
gonna,
want you to know that they can encounter the same kind of issues.
yeah, yeah. But basically, it's really what they're saying is like I can see what they mean. Like, we need to go ahead and have these hard conversations all the time. It's like what happens is like, well, one people is on one side, another set of people's on another side, and they don't want to come together and figure shit out because the answer with most things is somewhere in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
But everybody's want to stay way over here or way over here, and nobody wants to come to the middle and meet. And that's what they were saying. We get to come to the middle and meet on this thing and find something that works somewhat for everybody because no one solution is going to work for everybody completely.
Right.
So let's come together and figure this shit out, which is what they did, even though I still would like to know what the plan was. He was like, yeah, we came up with a plan. We're not going to tell you what the plan was. We gave him up with a plan, though. There's a plan.
You said plan like 6 times within a matter of 30 seconds.
I'll say plan 17 more times if I feel like it. Plan, 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 plan.
What else was I gonna say? As they were going through Renee's flashbacks, now I'm talking like post his wife dying,
Mm-hmm.
and now his daughter's in foster care. Like when they were going through, he's on the phone with, I guess, ACS or the foster system,
Mm-hmm.
and he just wants to talk to her
CPS, yeah.
or see her, and like to see him like pleading like that was so heart wrenching.
It was, and it was very different for him too. Like he's like, oh shit, that's what he cares about, right?
But yeah, if Arrow's never made me cry before, but like if there was any time that came close to it, it would have been that.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. But yeah,
Such a different side of Renee, so it's like it's weird to see him like that. But I mean, it also kind of makes sense as to I mean, that scene also goes to show where he got his inspiration to become Wild Dog.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But then you see when later on, like, yo, she's in, the kid's in foster care. She's probably better off. She has no business with me right now, cause yeah, I'm running around at night, wild dogging it up.
Wild Dogging it up. That sounds really bad.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
sure does.
what was I getting ready to say? Oh, but so on her thing it said um something was pending or something like that. Does that mean someone's adopting her, or is that custody? Something pending. Does that mean he's still trying, or does that mean
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even see that.
I saw it? I just kind of like I was a little confused because he did say, you know, I'm not in a place to be taking care of her, or whatever he said, and but at the top of the thing it said there was like a custody application pending.
Oh, well, that it might be his. So it might be a thing where at the end of this season he goes back to taking care of her, and then we have no more Wild Dog,
Who knows?
or he's just still being Quentin's assistant and shit. So I could see that,
Yeah.
and it going back to like the team kind of fixing around. Speaking of the team, though, one thing I
Steve.
want to talk about, want to mention, is John's helmet really doesn't distinguish, like cover up his face very well, because I can clearly see what his face looks like through that helmet.
I mean, same for Curtis's thing. Like I can still tell that's Curtis.
Yeah, yeah.
Sans glasses and with face paint.
And the braids. How does he braid his hair so fast?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, like does he like stop? Like he have like his cousin come over, like, hey, I need you to braid my hair real quick, and you do it quick.
Or maybe he's been doing his own hair for so long that he just knows how to do it really fast.
Maybe
Like maybe that's how he keeps his fro like, in such good shape. Like I mean, he must do it quite often, but I mean,
he does have a
what do
pretty epic fro.
I
But yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on with Arrow?
I'm kind of okay. So I mean, this was another week we spent without, any interruption from Prometheus. Um, Even though this episode got a little political, it seemed like a filler episode, but I did enjoy. This is like one of the first filler episodes I've enjoyed.
Yeah, it was
You
good
know what I
filler.
mean?
Yeah, it was filler, but it was good filler. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so it was another week without some Prometheus problems, but I was also kind of surprised that the whole, from last week when girlfriend, press girl, I'm not even gonna try and bother to remember her name because I really don't care that much about it.
Yep.
Um, that wasn't brought up.
Yeah, it'll probably be brought up next week. I'm thinking it's one of those things like,
It needs a week to fester.
yeah, we'll plant this seed now so we can come back to it in a bit. Just remember this is here,
Have everyone freak out.
Exactly. Like we told you, but you forgot. Oh, we also see that Dinah is like, yo, going into the SCPD. She's applied there, so we'll have another cop on the beat. So yeah, gonna see what happens with her being a cop at the same time that she's with Team Arrow. I don't know what that's gonna mean, but we'll see.
Right.
So yeah, that was the end of that episode. Anything else you want to touch on though?
I was gonna say with the whole Dinah thing, that's how uninterested I was in the current time that I didn't even know she was doing that.
It kind of like shoved it in at the end, like they just, oh yeah, I'm also going to SCPD after I got this apartment, that was it. It,
Just tisk tisk.
yeah, it just one. It was a quick sentence, so if you weren't really like focused in, you'd miss it.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that was it for this episode of Arrow. Next week, the episode is called "The Sin Eater," which immediately made me think of the anime Soul Eater, but I'm sure that's not what this is about. Let's see,
Okay.
there's a prison break, and old girl with the heart arrows that was obsessed with Oliver is,
Okay, so that was her. All
yeah,
right. I was like, am I crazy or is that her?
yeah, that was her. So we see that she did that prison break or whatever, and SWAT or whatever surrounds Oliver. Like, you're under arrest for the murder of whatever the fuck the detective's name is. Felicity's boyfriend that he killed with the arrows and shit. So that's about all we know, and we'll see next week what happens, I guess. But that was the preview for next week.
Yep.
Yeah. So that would be it for this week's episode. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
I didn't think so. That's it. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Creation Magazine. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/Creation Magazine. You can follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at Sir Cussalott. That is at SIR_CUSSALOTT. Mara, how about you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at maradashark_. That's MARADASHARK_.
Cool. All right, folks. That'll be it for this week's episode of Super Flashy Arrow of Tomorrow. We'll catch you next week. Same time, same place. Until then, stay creative, stay free.
Bye.